It is easier than ever to custom code websites and sell them as projects for clients or use them internally and create your own SaaS application. And this can be a lucrative business model. Just a few years back, I charged $16,500 for a custom app, and that was just for a prototype. I hired a couple developers that I knew. We went to work, we built this app. It took us 3 months of our life. 3 people working all day on this app. But what I want to show you in today's video is how easy it would have been if we had the tools that we have today. In the scope of this video, I'm going to build and deploy the app. So I want you to take a look at how long this video is right now. And then think about how long it took me just a few years back before all of these AI coding tools were around. Then I want you to imagine what it would be like if you could charge $16,500 for what I'm going to be building in today's video. And here's a little secret. This version of the app that I'm building in today's video is probably better than the one that I hired the React developers to help me build just a few years back. And this is really just a testament to show how far AI coding has come. Sometimes when I think about it, it's just unfathomable to think about how far we've really come. Like, I was a web developer for many years, and I built websites that were anywhere from $1,500 up to $10,000 usually. But when I got this app project, it made me realize how much you can actually charge for custom app development. And as I said before, this was just a prototype. So imagine polishing it and knocking it out, and then imagine the retainer that you could charge on an app like this. So before we get into this, please drop a like, comment below. I'm genuinely curious to know, do you believe in these new AI coding tools? Do you think they're gimmicky? Do you think that they're not going to work? Are you amazed by them? Do you think that they're the best thing since sliced bread? Let me know below. I'm genuinely curious to hear what you guys think of these new AI coding tools. Now, I'm going to tell you the exact tech stack that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be custom building this app in today's video. So now let's get into a quick presentation where I share with you guys how we're going to be building this app, and then we'll get into actually building the app out live right here on this video. All right, so our goal is to create an app that we can monetize or sell. And this could be an app that you're building for yourself. It could be that idea that's been stirring in the back of your head for many years. The truth is, AI has come so far when it comes to app development. That's one of the areas that it's really excelled in. If there was any area that I would say AI has improved the most, it's been in software development, coding, programming. These types of tasks are where people are actually, unfortunately, losing their jobs if they're not adapting to these new tools. So maybe you're actually an employee right now and you're trying to make sure that your skills are like still up to par for the job market. This can be something that you can look into, because not only is this like a valuable skill for entrepreneurs or web developers, this can also be extremely valuable for somebody who is just looking to stay relevant in the job market. So that is the goal. We're going to create an app that you can sell or monetize in today's video. And you can steal my idea if you want to. Now, first we need to talk about the old way, because this stuff, as I said, has come so far since I first got into web development, software development. So the old way is to hand code a custom application, take months of testing, revisions, and failures along the way. And the new way, well, that is to utilize vibe coding. Basically, all that means is we're using natural language to prompt our app into existence and bring our app to life. So the tools that are out there right now, there's many of them, but I'm just going to share a few. The first one that a lot of people are really excited about right now is Claude Code. Then we have Kiro from Amazon. We have Cursor. You may have heard of this one as well. This doesn't mean that you don't need to know anything about software development. In fact, if you have a background as an engineer, you're going to be deadly when you come in contact with these new tools if you haven't approached them yet. Just a couple weeks ago, I was invited to give a talk to some interns at a real world company where these interns went through college. They were told, okay, you're not allowed to use these tools. This is considered cheating. Then they got into the workplace, and people like me, who were honestly a little bit less technical than some of these people, I was building what they were building over weeks in about 10 minutes. And this is no exaggeration, guys. And when they saw what Cursor could do, when I showed them this tool right here, they were just blown away. And honestly, they were a little embarrassed. And who could blame them? They went through college, they did all of this work. They were told it was cheating to use AI all along. But what they didn't realize is that what they were gaining in college was extremely valuable. They were gaining the skills of an engineer. They were learning problem solving. They were learning how all of these technologies come together. They weren't just typing prompts and then basically getting some slop on the other end. They understood the mechanisms behind what was happening. So the more you learn about engineering, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, the more you learn about engineering, the better you're going to become with these tools. Now, some of the more beginner-friendly ones are apps like Replit, Lovable, and Bolt. Now, the tool that I am most excited about right now, and the tool I'm going to be using in this video, is Claude Code. It's definitely not the easiest one to get started up with, but if I had to go back now and start fresh, I would definitely have just started learning Claude Code. Claude Code is directly integrated into your computer's terminal. So when you're writing terminal commands, basically you can write a command called Claude. It's going to open up a prompt bar, and then it's pretty simple from there. It's just plain English. So these are the types of tools you can utilize for vibe coding. And as I said, I'm going to be using Claude Code in today's video. You can use any of these tools. They all work quite well. Now let's jump into the project that I got paid $16,500 to create a prototype for. Now this project cost me more money than it was worth, and it took months of testing and 2 additional developers. So that was the old way, like I said before, but we're going to be doing this the new way, and I'm going to be building this all in the scope of this video. Now, if I had vibe coding, this project would have been a total breeze. So what was the app? I'm going to explain the app really quick, and then we're going to rebuild it live right here. So the app was a wedding invitation and experience website for people hosting a wedding. And when you host a wedding, you need to get RSVPs from your guests. You also might want them to be able to upload a photo while they're at their wedding to a website so that it creates an album for you at the end of the wedding. So this app had RSVP and photo functionality for during the wedding. It had a sign up for new wedding guests so that they could RSVP for the wedding. They could enter their details like their party size, their name, any allergies to be aware of, song requests, things like that. We're also going to be building in the ability to edit the wedding landing page. So you'll be able to create a landing page for your wedding if you have a wedding coming up. That's basically what this app would do. And on the day of the wedding, this is going to have photo uploads so that people can upload photos to an album for their wedding, and then that can get packaged up and sent to them, or they can download those photos after the wedding. And it's also going to have like directions to the venue, maybe some nearby hotels, things like that. Now, in today's video, we're going to build an app that does this. The goal is to teach you transferable skills that you'll need going forward to charge upwards of $10,000 for custom app build-outs. And to this day, people still want websites. I've had so many clients come to me, and I'm so busy with YouTube nowadays that I've had to turn a lot of them away. But sometimes I think that's crazy. I could just vibe code the website and it would be ready to go, right? So people still want websites. There's massive demand out there, and you can build better websites than ever with these tools. And they also want apps built, even though it's easier than ever to do so. So don't get in this trap of thinking like, oh, it's so easy, people will just do it. That is the trap that developers have been in for such a long time now. You know, there used to be like WYSIWYG tools that came out, which stands for what you see is what you get. You basically just drag and drop and you create a canvas for the website. And it's a very visual process, no coding involved. And I used to hear people say like, why wouldn't someone just build their own website now? And the truth is, most people that are running a local business or they want an app developed, they don't want to be in the game of technology or app development, no matter how easy it is. They just want to trust that the person that's on the other end is going to take care of that stuff for them and that they're going to do a satisfactory job. AI just makes that easier. Now, if I had these tools when I was in web development, I would have had a much easier time and far fewer developers and costs required to bring it to life. Now, before we dive into today's training, I wanted to share how you can take it up a notch and how you can really accelerate your learning journey and also join a community of people who are in your shoes right now, trying to build apps, trying to build custom AI agents, trying to really stay adaptable in today's job market that's just filled with all of these new AI tools and frameworks that are coming around the corner. So if you're trying to stay relevant in today's job market, or you're trying to build a new AI startup, or maybe run an agency that helps people implement AI, this is the place to be. So Drake and I together, we run this community, we join the support calls, we join the introduction calls where you get to meet us, and we have masterminds together. Not only that, but we've hired expert coaches to help you guys out. Now, if you really want to get into vibe coding, there will be some hurdles. And like I said before, there are still skills to learn. It's not as easy as clicking a button. If it was that easy, people actually would be just building their website without the help of an engineer. But the thing is the threshold for becoming an engineer is coming down by the day as AI gets better. And we teach you the ropes in terms of how you can get onboarded fast and how you can start building apps. Just take a look at our classroom tab in AI Foundations. And if you go down, we have a course right here. It's called Vibe Coding Agents into Apps. So basically what this is it's a course created by Paulo. Paulo has trained over 300,000 students on software development, and he was here before AI. Now we're lucky enough to have Paulo on our team, and he actually teaches you guys step by step exactly how to do this. This is going to go a lot more in depth than today's video, and he's really going to cover everything from how you can take payments to how you can set up secure authentication, how you set up your database. He's even going to show you how to include AI features like talking to AI models. So there's so much in-depth training from Paulo in the Vibe Coding Agents into Apps course, but we also have basic courses on large language models so that you can learn about the models that are actually running all of this. We also have other courses that are going to help you stay relevant in the job market, or they're just going to help you really just break into AI from the get-go. These white courses right here are what we call our pillar courses. We teach you all about the different modalities of AI and how to use them. These black courses are the more advanced courses, but we still keep things broken down and simple for you guys. We show you how to build your own agents, and we show you how to vibe code in these courses. We have a mastermind call where you can come on Mondays and you can join us for just a kind of like open coffee chat or just like drinks and chat. It's very chill. It's very organic, and you can really think of it as like a think tank type call. Then we have the AI support calls every week on Thursdays. This is where you can come in and you can share a problem that you're running into. You can screen share, we'll help you through it. And what we'll do on this AI support call is we'll resolve your issue live. Then if you do decide to join, I encourage you to join the Friday introduction calls, both your first introduction call so that you can introduce yourself to the community, but then subsequent introduction calls as well if you want to network with other people who are interested in this AI revolution as well and how to better themselves in it. So if you're interested in being a part of this community and just cutting your learning curve in half, mastering AI in 30 to 60 days, then I recommend joining the AI Foundations community. If you run into problems today, or if you run into problems using AI, or if you just can't hold yourself back because you're so excited about what's possible with AI and everyone around you is like, okay, you're crazy. Why do you talk about AI all the time? Then this is the place for you. So the link will be in the description if you're interested in joining our community, and I look forward to meeting you on one of our calls that we have on the calendar. All right, now let's get into the tools that I'm going to be using in today's video. So I'm going to be using Claude Code, as I mentioned, to code with AI just by typing in natural language. I'm going to be using Supabase to store the data. We need some place to store our user accounts and all of these weddings that we're going to be tracking and all of the photos that are going to be taken. All of the guest lists, all of those sorts of things are going to be stored in Supabase. Then we're going to be using Github for version control. So if we make a mistake, if the AI does something wrong, we can always roll back to a different version of our code using Github. And the neat thing is Claude Code can talk to Supabase and Github as well. So it can do the rollback for us. It can build the database for us. And then we're going to be using Netlify in order to deploy our website. And this talks directly with Github as well. So when we have a working version, it's as simple as pressing a couple buttons over on Netlify to deploy our website. Now here's a higher level architecture of what we're going to be doing. We're going to be using Claude Code to build the app, and we're going to be using Github for version control. So let's say we have version 1 of our app, we have version 2 after we work on it for a while, and we have version 3. Let's say version 1 worked fine, and then version 2 broke. Okay, if version 2 broke, we can go back to version 1, and then we can make the fixes, we can add whatever we want, and then we can create a version 3 in GitHub. And that is our new working version. When we're ready, we create a main version of the app, a main branch of our GitHub project. And this is what Netlify is going to talk to in order to host our app. It's going to talk to the files in our main branch on GitHub. And that main branch is going to be run by Supabase in the background, which is going to store our images. It's going to handle authentication for new users, and it's going to handle customer details. First, we're going to be creating a new project over in Supabase. So you'll have to get a Supabase account, get signed up for that, and then go in and create a new project. So when you create this new project, you're going to need to give it a name. I'm just going to call it Weddings-Pro. That's what we'll call this app. For the password, I'm just going to generate a password, and then I'm going to copy this and I'm going to save it somewhere securely. This is going to give full access to our database. Now we'll go ahead and create the new project. Since I already have a couple projects running, this one's going to cost me $10 per month in order to run, but I believe you get some free projects to begin with when you're first starting out with Supabase. So I'm just going to hit I understand. It will take a little bit of time for the project to get started. As you can see right here, this is my project status and it's spinning right now, but I'm just going to wait about 3 to 5 minutes and then this thing should be good to go. What I'm going to do once I have that project all set up is I'm going to go over to my desktop and I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to rename this folder to weddings-pro. This is going to be where we store the source code for our project. Next, I'm going to open up a terminal. So you can either just type in terminal, and that's probably what you're going to be using, but I'm going to be using Ghosty, which is basically just a different version of the terminal that I installed for myself. You can just use the terminal. It should work just fine. Once you open your terminal, it's going to look something like this. It might look a little bit different for you, but most likely it's just going to bring you to your source directory. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to navigate to this folder right here. So first we'll cd desktop. And what that stands for is change directory, CD. So we're changing the directory to my desktop, which is a folder contained within my source directory. Then furthermore, now that I'm on my desktop, I will CD into weddings-pro, which is the folder that I created on my desktop. Now that I've created that folder, I can just type in Claude if I have Claude installed. If you don't have Claude Code installed already, then you can watch my other video. You can click in the top right corner and that will show you how to install Claude Code. All right, so once you click that, you're going to get this message right here. Do you trust the files in this folder for Desktop Weddings Pro? I'm just going to proceed by hitting enter. And now, as you can see here, we can just start typing and Claude Code will go to work. Now, like I said before, you can use simpler tools like Lovable or Bolt or Replit. These tools are all right within your web browser. I'm just using Claude Code because it's what I prefer and I found it to be the most powerful for app development. Next, we're going to install the Supabase MCP, and this is what's going to allow us to connect to Supabase through Claude and allow Claude to make changes in our Supabase account. So I'm going to hit / and type in exit, and then I'll hit enter. And then that's just going to bring me back to my directory without the Claude typing area here. And you're going to paste in this command right here. I'm going to have this below in the description, so you can just copy and paste it directly, but you're going to need to change a few things here. You're going to need to change where it says the personal access token right here. You're going to need to actually make that your Supabase access token, and then you're going to need to change your project ref right here. So I'm going to quickly show you guys where to get that information so that you can swap it out in the command. So when you're in Supabase, you will see this little icon in the corner for your profile. Just click on it and then click account preferences. And then you're going to go to this access tokens tab in the left-hand sidebar. This is where you can create access tokens. These are going to give full control over your entire account. From here, we're going to click generate new token. And I'm just going to call this Claude MCP and I'll generate the token. Now that token is going to show up on your screen with a copy button. Just click the copy button. I'm not showing it right now because I don't want you guys to see my key. You're just going to replace where it has the access token in that command that I shared with you guys before. After you've copied that and you've added it to that command that I have in the description, you're then going to head back to your project. So I'm on my Weddings Pro project right here. And from there, you're going to go into the project settings. And then right here under general settings, you're going to see the project ID. Copy that. And that is going to go in your project ref area. So you're going to get rid of those brackets and you're just going to paste it in there between the quotation marks. Then you're going to copy that entire command and I'm going to blur it out, but I'm going to paste it in right here. And that command now has my access token and my project reference in it. I'm just going to hit enter. And just like that, it's added this MCP server, this connection to my Supabase account to Claude. After you've done that, you're going to type in Claude MCP list, hit enter. And this is going to show you the different MCP servers that you are connected with. All right, next I'm just going to make sure that I'm in my directory and then I'm just going to type in Claude and Claude should start up. And next I can just basically start telling it what I want to do. And I have a voice command. So I can just start talking, and then when I'm done, it'll transcribe it and it'll just pop it right in here. So this is just an app that I have on my MacBook in order to help me basically just get this done a whole lot faster than typing. So that is what I'm going to be using in today's video, but you can just type out these commands if you want to. The app that I'm using, if you're curious, is called Spokenly. I want you to see if you can read my Supabase projects using the Supabase MCP. I'll send that off. And it's always just going to ask me if I want to proceed. I'm just going to hit yes.
Hey Carter, Claude successfully accessed your Supabase project using the Supabase MCP tools. He retrieved your project URL and anonymous key, confirming that the database is currently empty with no tables or branches configured.
Now, as you could hear there, a voice will respond to me as well when Claude is done. This is a custom Claude hook that I've installed. So if you want to learn how I did this, then I'll maybe make a video on it. This isn't necessary for coding, but it is something that you could set up with Claude Code if you wanted to. I'm just going to use /clear to clear out the conversation. And now that I know that it's connected to Supabase, we should be ready to go. So I want to build a project in this directory that is using Vite and React. And I want it to basically have a landing page. And here's what the app is going to do. So the app is going to be a wedding planning tool. This app is going to allow people to basically just book in their wedding, fill out all their details for their wedding. And then from there, people can RSVP to a public page that they're going to be assigned through a URL. On this page, there is going to be RSVP. And when people click on that RSVP form, it's going to ask them a couple questions like their allergies. It's going to allow them to add guests to their party with a simple plus toggle so that they can write in their first and last name. It should also allow the user to add allergies or song requests that are going to need to be required for those individuals. And here's something that's important. On the day of the wedding, we want this landing page to switch from an RSVP page to a page where people can click a button, whether they're on their mobile device or they're on a desktop computer. And from there, they can either upload a photo or they can take a photo. The user from their backend is going to be able to see an album of all of the photos and individually download those photos or hit download all to get all the photos. Now I'm going to be adding to the app, but this is the core functionality that we need. So get this running for me on my local host so that I can see what exactly we're going to be starting with. It should have a landing page with sign up, and we're going to be using Supabase for all of this. So use the Supabase MCP in order to create the tables that we need to build this app out. All right, so that was quite a long command. Let's see what it puts out there. All right, and it just added a bunch of lines, so it just says pasted because it was just a super long bit of text that I had there. So I'm just going to hit enter. And as you can see, we have all of that information that I just spoke out in natural language. And it's going to go through here and start to structure out the project for me. So what Claude Code does here is it creates a to-do list first. And this is basically just going to keep it on the rails when it's working on this project. So first it knows it needs to initialize Vite and React. And if we go into our project right here, you're going to be able to see that it's going to start adding to this, right? So it's adding all of these different files right here for the project. And this is basically my app that it's creating right now. Now, security is super important. So like I said, I'm gonna have to make a video on the removal blocking, but I also have a feature in here to block the .env file writes and reads so that it can't read my environment variables. These are basically like the private passwords that I have to connect to all these applications. So it's just telling me what I need to write with this example env that it created right here. So it's giving me all of these examples that I need to add. So it's asking that I add the Supabase URL and the Supabase anon key, which I can do right here. If I didn't have this blocked, it would just do it for me. But in this case, I'm going to have to do that just to be cautious and secure. All right, so now it's updating my CSS, which is basically the styling for the app so that it looks super clean when it's all said and done. All right, now it's reached a point where it has basically tried to run this and it's running into some issues with running it. I think it's stuck right now. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my environment variables because as you saw before, I blocked it from being allowed to do that. So I'm going to do that manually and I'll show you where to find those Supabase environment variables. Now, to make this a whole lot easier, I'm going to be using Cursor, not to do any of the coding, but just to view my files. So I'm going to open up my Weddings Pro directory here, and now I can see all of the files inside. And the one that I'm interested in is this .env.example. Now, this is where it wants me to put my Vite Supabase URL, and I'll show you where to find that, and my Vite Supabase anon key, so that you can actually connect this app to Supabase and it can talk to the database. Now, this is just one of those manual steps that we still have to do to ensure that this is running securely. So I'm going to navigate to my Weddings Pro project right here, and then I'm going to go into the project settings. From here, I'm going to click on Data API, and I'm going to copy this URL. Then we'll go ahead and we'll paste that into Supabase URL. Then I'll copy this public key right here under API keys in my project, and we'll paste that one right here for my public key. Now I have all of this in this .env.example that it generated for me, but I'm going to copy all of that and I'm going to paste it over into my env file right here. I'm not going to do that on screen because I have some other variables in there. All right, so I've pasted what I had in my .env.example into my .env, and now I'm going to go back to Claude and I'm going to say, hey there, so I added in my environment variables into the .env. And the .env.example is what you are going to use. You're not allowed to access the .env, but you can add future environment variables to the .env.example file. Also, we're getting the following TypeScript error when I run this. It's saying that main.jsx can't be found, or the styles can't be pulled from main.jsx, something like that. So please go ahead and fix that, and also just continue on development. And then when you're ready for me to run it, just tell me to run it. Don't run it yourself.
Hey Carter, Claude created a Jida example file with standard patterns for Node.js React projects, fixed a TypeScript error in main.js, and set up the project with React, Vite, React Router, and Supabase.
All right, now I'm going to copy this get-ignore example, and I'm just going to paste this into here. And now I'm just going to ask it, all right, how do I run this project? All right, so now I have a separate terminal open. I asked Claude how I'd run the project and it said to run npm run dev. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on that command and it's going to run it on my localhost 5173. I'm just going to click on this link while holding command on my Mac and we get a white screen. So what I can do now is I can just right click, I can hit inspect, then I can see this error coming through right here. So it says that it's missing Supabase environment variables. So I'm just going to copy this over. Can you add the environment variable logging for the environment variables that were missing and give me some more console logs to tell me which environment variables are incorrect or missing?
Hey Carter, Claude implemented logging to debug environment variables in Vite. He ensured that the console displays which variables are found or missing, previews their values, and provides clear error messages for any missing variables.
You're going to see that it shares the environment variables that are missing. So it says, please check your .env file. And it says that both of these are missing. So let's make sure that we have everything right. All right, perfect. So what ended up happening was I didn't save my env file, so it just wasn't loading those in. As soon as I saved it, it restarted the server and everything worked. So next, what I see here is there's a sign in and a sign up that it puts us through here. So what I need to do next is I need to make sure that for sign up, we're just using a magic token that gets sent to my email. So basically just a one-time password that gets sent to email. And this is just going to be quicker for development. It's going to be quicker for this example so that we don't need email and passwords set up. I'm going to ask it to remove the environment variables debug that it just added.
Carter, Claude added logging to display the status of environment variables, including which ones are found or missing, and then removed all debug logging to ensure no variable values were exposed in the console.
All right, so now what I want next is essentially for the sign-in modal at the bottom of the screen to go away. I don't want it to be there. I want it to be on its own separate page. So the main page where it says plan your perfect wedding, the landing page rather, should have a sign up button on the basically as the call to action under where it says manage RSVPs, capture memories, and create a beautiful wedding experience. It should just have a sign up button. And in the upper right hand corner, it should have a login button. Now the sign up button is going to take them to a sign up page, and the login button will take them to the login page. For both cases, we want to use a one-time password sent to email. So in this case, we're going to be just using a one-time password. We're not going to be using a link. So there should be an extra step on sign in and on sign up where the user has to basically enter a 6-digit token that we're going to generate in Supabase and send them in an email when they request to log in with just their email, no password required. So get that all set up for me. All right, so it's already added the sign up button and it's added this login button up here. I did want it over to the right, but that can be a simple change and it might even get that right as it's working through the changes. If it misses it though, it is going through and adding the other features. So we'll see what it comes up with. All right, cool. It looks like it fixed the styling for that login button and I didn't even have to tell it to, so that's good. Now it's adding the routing for the auth pages, or I guess it's done with that. So it should be coming back to me with a finished message.
Hey Carter, Claude successfully implemented a new authentication flow by creating sign-up and login page components, updating the app.gix for new routing, and styling the authentication pages. He also removed the sign-in modal from the landing page and added buttons for a signee. Carter, your agent needs your input.
All right, perfect. So now if I try to use my app and I click login, for instance, it should bring me to this screen. Perfect. And then if I click sign up, it brings me to this create your account screen. That's good too. Now I want it to send me a verification code, but that's something that I have to manually set up over in Supabase. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So I'm going to navigate to my Weddings Pro project, and then I'm going to go into authentication on the left-hand sidebar. From there, I'm going to go to the emails tab on the left-hand sidebar. And then where it says confirm signup, I'm going to click to confirm signup. And instead of this confirmation URL, I'm actually just going to remove this line right here. I'm going to leave the paragraph tags right here, the P and the P, so that's fine. And we're just going to click on the token, and that's going to put a token in there instead. And then I'm just going to change this text to say use this token to confirm your sign up to Weddings Pro. Then I'm going to hit save changes. Then we'll go over to the magic link tab, and I'm going to do the same here. I'm just going to get rid of everything between those P tags right there. And I'm going to click token so that it puts the token in there. And I'm going to change this text to say, use this token to sign in to Weddings Pro. And then for the title, I'll just type in one-time token, and I'll just make the subject your one-time password. Then we'll go ahead and save the changes. Now, if I go back to my app and I create an account, and then I hit send verification code, look at that. It already has the 6-digit all set up. So now I'm going to go over to my email. I'm going to grab that code and I'm going to paste it in. Then I'll hit verify and sign up. All right, now I'm all verified. And now it looks like I can hit create wedding. And then boom, just like that, it has all of my wedding details that I can add right here. So let's just enter some information, just some arbitrary information. We'll just do Sarah and John. And then for the photo upload password, so that guests can only upload if they have this password, we're just going to enter 1234. And then it also gives me the ability to add a custom URL. So I'm just going to enter John-Sarah. And then we'll go ahead and create the wedding page. All right, and it looks like we're running into our first issue. It's not actually creating that wedding page, or at least I don't think it is. I'll go back to my dashboard here, hit a refresh, and yeah, it looks like no weddings yet. So this is a good time to talk about version control with Git. This is where we can create versions of our app and then we can revert back to them if we need to. So what I'm doing next is I'm just giving it a prompt that is essentially going to get it to create some documents in my source directory that explain how to push these changes live and also how to handle version control. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. All right, so basically what it did there was it created a Weddings Pro Development.md, and this is going to be a project requirement document. PRD is the acronym that we use for that, and it should know exactly what this means. All of the features are going to be added in here, so it basically just tells everything that this app needs integrated. And then we also have a GitHub commit checklist that it created with branch structure for GitHub and Supabase so that we can have version control across GitHub and Supabase. Read your GitHub commit checklist. And what I want you to do next is actually create the infrastructure for that. We don't have the branches set up on GitHub or Supabase. You can use GitHub through the CLI, and you can use Supabase MCP in order to create these branches that we need. And then what I want you to do is push the first version to a development branch. All right, now I'm going to have it test out a version commit for my application so that I can go back and forth between versions. And on this one, I'm having it basically just fix this plus button. It's a simple change, but we can actually create a version where the plus button is fixed and a version where previously, like right now, it's not fixed. So let's see what it does. All right, now I want to show you guys how the version control works. So I'm going to have it revert back to a previous version where the button wasn't working and then revert back to this one. All right, I want to revert back to the version where the button wasn't working so that we can see what it looks like briefly. And then I want you to finally revert back to the version where it is working that we're on right now. All right, and as you can see there, it reverted back. And now we're on the version where it actually looks good again. So it just did both of those changes in a matter of seconds right there. So we can just easily switch back between versions now. Now let's continue testing with this. So if I hit create wedding now, and then I go through test 1, 2, 3 for the custom URL, and I'll create the wedding page. All right, so we're getting a database error here. It says insert or update table weddings violates foreign key constraint. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this in and paste it. I'm just going to say, give me the SQL that I need to run in order to fix this. All right, so it gave me this SQL right here. So I'm just going to copy that, and then we'll go ahead and add that into Supabase. So I'll just go back to the SQL editor in Supabase, and we'll just replace what we have here. And we'll go ahead and run. And now I'm just going to create the wedding page again. And this time it works. Perfect. So now I can hit view page, and I can see the Sarah and John are getting married. When, and it tells when, and then the where is also included here. So if I hit RSVP now, I can enter my name and I can add an additional guest, and then I can hit submit RSVP. Perfect. It says, thank you for your RSVP. We look forward to celebrating with you. All right, that's awesome. So now what I can do is I can go back to the dashboard here. Okay, and I don't have a place to actually see any of my RSVPs. So I'm just going to say, all right, we want to add a page where I can see all of my RSVPs. And this should be an edit button on the My Weddings page. There's the list of weddings there, and it should be an edit button on that wedding. And that should bring me to the edit settings. And then there's the view page button. That one's good. That works. There's the photos button. That one's good. And then we should also add another button there that allows me to view RSVPs. So go ahead and create that button to view RSVPs as well, which brings me to a new page where I can view anybody that's RSVP'd to my wedding. All right, and it looks like it's added the buttons. So far they're misaligned, but it should be able to fix this. If it doesn't, then I'll have it fix that for me. And now it's creating the RSVP viewing page. So I'll be able to click this RSVPs button, and I'll be able to see all the people that have RSVP'd to the wedding. All right, so it ended up fixing that grid right there. It made it into a nice grid where I can see all of my buttons, and it's trying to do a git commit now for this new version that we've created. But first I want to make sure everything looks good. So we'll go to the RSVPs list, and boom, as you can see, it created this comprehensive RSVP list here. And it has my name, it has the +1s, it has my contact information, status, dietary restrictions, etc. So that looks pretty good. It even allows me to export a CSV. Let's see if that works. All right, perfect. It created this without me even asking, and it has this in a CSV. So that looks amazing. I'm just going to test a couple other things to make sure everything else is working. So let's go to the photos page. Yeah, it looks like no photos were uploaded yet. Let's go view page. All right, so we're going to go ahead and commit these changes here. But one thing that it's not getting right now is it's not really like dynamically switching this page right here. So we do need to maybe just add in a second page where people can upload photos during the wedding. All right, and quickly, I want to show you how version control works again. So, hey, I want you to go in and switch between the old version and then switch back to the latest version on Git so that I can see exactly how this changed. So just make sure that we end on the latest version, but just do a quick switch over to the previous version so we can see what it looked like before you made the change. All right, so as you can see there, it switched between the two versions really quick just to show me that we do have the old version and we have the new version. So I can always revert back to that old version if we need to. All right, next we need to focus on the active wedding page where people can upload photos. So I want people to be able to upload their photos there and have to enter that password in order to do so. I want this to work on mobile and desktop. So basically it should open their camera app when they click on it on their phone. And if they're on desktop, it should essentially just allow them to choose a file or use their webcam in order to do this. This should be a separate page from the RSVPs page because right now the RSVPs page looks great and I don't want to switch that around. And then the live wedding page, we do want that one to be separate. So add a button for the live wedding and we want to make that add a dash live after their custom URL for the wedding page. All right, so now we're going to create a live wedding page. I've just instructed Claude to do that. So let's see if it can create that live wedding page.
Hey Carter, Claude successfully created the live wedding page with photo upload functionality, implemented routing for the page, and ensured the live wedding button in the dashboard navigates correctly to this route. Additionally, Claude updated the CSS to make the wedding actions grid responsive.
All right, so now I notice that we've reverted and the view page and the live wedding are both just bringing me to the home page. So there's something amiss here. The RSVPs and edit page still works. The photos page still works, but the view page and the live wedding, those ones aren't working. Hey Claude, so the changes that you just implemented broke the routing for the view page and the live wedding page. So make sure that you use Supabase MCP to read the database structure and then also go in and read our code and make a fix that fixes the routing to these public pages for view page and live wedding page.
Hey Carter, Claude fixed the routing issues by changing the live wedding route to avoid parameter parsing problems, updated the live wedding component to retain the URL format, and modified the dashboard to align with the new routing pattern.
All right, let's give it a go. All right, so the RSVP page works.
Carter, your agent needs your input.
Now let's test the live wedding page. Perfect, the live wedding page works. Now let's see if I take a photo, what it does. Okay, so it asks me to do an upload. I want it to actually use my webcam in order to get me to have a picture taken of myself. And I also want it to ask me for a password before I'm allowed to take the photo. Hey, I want you to go in to the live wedding page and I want you to add a password requirement when they click the take or choose photo button. And instead of take or choose photo, I just want it to take a photo. So it should activate my webcam on desktop and mobile. It should activate my camera on mobile and my webcam on desktop.
Hey Carter, Claude successfully updated the live wedding page by implementing a password-first flow for photo capture, changing the button text to take a photo, and ensuring the camera opens directly after password entry.
All right, so it finished up. Now let's give this a try. Okay, perfect. I hit take photo and I believe the password was 123. So I'll hit continue and it still opens my files right here. So that's not quite working on that end, but the password is. Okay, so the password is working great, but when I hit take a photo, it is opening up my File Explorer on desktop. It should give me an option to select my camera that I want to use, and then it should allow me to take a photo instead of requiring that. So please go ahead and fix this.
Hey Carter, Claude successfully implemented a camera capture interface on the live wedding page using the Media Stream API. This allows users to select their camera, view a live video feed, and take snapshots directly from the modal.
All right, now let's go ahead and try this again. All right, perfect. This time it's asking to allow my camera, so I'll go ahead and allow, and boom, I'm right there. So now I'm just gonna capture the photo, and it asked me to add a name, so I'll just do thumbs up. I guess that is optional, and we'll go ahead and upload the photo. Okay, so it's failing to upload the photo, but we are making progress, so I'm just going to send that off with failed to upload photo. I'll also see if there's any logs. So yeah, it violates row level security policy, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and we'll paste it in. And I'll tell it, give me the SQL command to allow this photo upload, and we'll send that off. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this SQL command that it gave me right here. We'll add that into Supabase and run. And it looks like there's a syntax error in the SQL command, so I'm just going to paste that. All right, I think I'm having a formatting error. I'm still getting that same syntax error with the near there, the word there for their weddings in the policy. So what I want you to do is just write the SQL into a file that I can then copy the contents of, so that I can have good syntax for this SQL, and also just make sure there's nothing else wrong with the SQL before sending that off.
Claude created 2 properly formatted SQL files to set up row-level security policies for photo uploads.
All right, so it gave me 2 files here. I'm just gonna copy this one, and we'll replace this here, and then paste that in, and we'll run it. All right, so now it looks like that worked. Let me try to upload the photo again, and I might actually have to refresh this. All right, so it looks like it's still failing to upload the file when a user goes in and tries to upload that file. I used the safer version that you shared.
Hey Carter, Claude created 2 SQL files containing properly formatted SQL for row-level security policies on the photos table, ensuring no syntax errors. Additionally, Claude developed a comprehensive guide addressing both storage bucket and database permissions to resolve upload issues.
All right, so it created this file, fix_photo_upload_permissions.md. And this file right here is basically explaining how I can fix this. So step 1 is to create storage buckets policy. So I'm going to go into my storage policies. We're going to add a new policy for wedding photos. And right here it says for full customization. So I'm going to use that one. We're going to enter the policy name. We're going to select insert. And then for targeted roles, we're going to go with anon and authenticated. Then I'll hit review and we'll save the policy. All right, then for number 2, allow view policy. I don't think that I want to allow anyone to view the photos. I just want them to be allowed to upload them. So I'm going to leave this one off for now. If it breaks it, then we can hash that out with Claude. And then here we have ensure photos table RLS policy. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here, go into the SQL editor, and I'll go ahead and paste this, and then we'll go ahead and run it. Oh, I need to get rid of that SQL line. And then now we should be able to run. Then I'll go into storage. We'll click into our bucket. We'll click on settings, go to wedding photos, and I'm going to edit the bucket. And then I'm going to make sure that this is a public bucket. All right, now I'm going to save. All right, now let's try this again. I'm going to go to the live wedding page, take a photo, 1, 2, 3, continue, allow, and all right, perfect. Now I'll hit upload photo. All right, and I'm going to assume that it uploaded that photo. Let's try one more to see if we can upload multiple. Okay, yeah, and it actually kept the password cached, so that's kind of nice. All right, so we're gonna upload that photo. Perfect, now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna view the photos. All right, and then as you can see, we have the wedding photos here, but they're not quite pulling in. All right, next I want to add in a feature where on the photos page for the wedding person that is hosting the wedding, it shows the wedding photos that have been taken for them. And this should just give a quick preview of the files from the bucket that are related to that wedding. And it should just show a preview with a little download button for individual download of each photo on it. And boom, there we go. It's actually pulling them in now. So that looks good. And now it's adding the visual indicator for the download button. Let's see if hover works. Okay, cool, it does. All right, so it looks like I can download these now. Let's try to download it. And it looks like the download worked. Awesome. Now let's try download all. Okay, download them separately, but it went through and downloaded both of them for me. Now, I think it would be nice if we had a image generated that has a QR code for the live wedding page, so that when people are at the wedding, we can print this out and we can actually put it on the tables, and it has the password, and it also has a QR code that they can just hover over, and they can basically just select upload wedding photos based on that QR code. So the QR code should bring them to the live wedding page, and it should have the password on it as well for that page. So I'm going to tell Claude what I want it to do, and this will be the last feature, and then we'll go ahead and deploy. Hey there, so next what I want to do is add a button on the My Weddings page for the weddings, and I want this button to basically just generate an image, and this image that it generates should be a QR code for the live weddings page. It should also have the password on the image so that we can print this image out and we can put it on the tables at the wedding so that people can see exactly how to upload photos. The image should also contain instructions on how to scan those photos. So it should generate that image dynamically whenever a change is made to the database. So if we update the password or something like that, it should update the image that we can download. So render a preview on there, and then also have a download button so that we can print that out. All right, so there's a bit of a formatting error here, but let's check out the QR code page really quick and see what it did. All right, perfect. Share your photos. So I'm just going to test out scanning this QR code, and it actually won't work on my phone, but that's just because I'm on localhost right now. It should work in production, but I just want to make sure it brings me to the right route. Perfect. It brings me right to the route when I scan that QR code on my phone, and it gives me the proper password. Now let's download for printing, and it gave me that photo to print out, so that's pretty awesome. Just for fun, let's add to the QR code for photo sharing. I want to make it so that you can change the color and font and preview it live before downloading for printing. So this should just change the banner color for the color behind share your photos and the color of the password. And the font layout should change the fonts accordingly. It should only be 2 or 3 fonts that they're allowed to change to for this. I just want to give them some custom options there. And also on the My Weddings page for the wedding card, the buttons are overflowing out of it. So just make sure that that is fixed as well in this change. All right, it has its to-dos here. Let's see what it does. First of all, I want to make sure that it fixes this. It looks like it's working on adding the color picker for the banner first. So let's see what it does over there. All right, sweet, gives me theme color. Let's see, can I change it? Oh man, that's amazing. And it updates live too. Okay, that's pretty sweet. In font style, I can go for modern, elegant, or playful. Let's try elegant. Okay, and playful. Awesome, so it actually works really well. I actually like the modern best. All right, and when I downloaded it, it also saved the colors. So that is amazing how quick it was able to do that. Now it did fix the buttons, but now they're getting kind of squeezed together and I'm unable to see the icons. So can we give the icons some more breathing room? Right now, the icons and the text inside of the buttons are getting squished because the outer container that is holding the buttons doesn't give the buttons enough room to expand. It's honestly kind of scary how good this is getting. All right, so this is all good to go, and I think we're ready to push to production now. But first, I'm just gonna make sure that everything is working. It's good to go through and test this thing extensively. So one of the things that I actually do is I usually install the Playwright MCP, and the Playwright MCP basically allows your agent to go in, create an account, and go through the process of testing everything. Now, the thing is when it goes through and creates the account, in this case, It's not going to be creating it on a development mailbox, so it would need access to an email account. So I'm not going to set up all of the fancy playwright testing and stuff like that for this. I would just go through and make sure that everything is working. And if it is, then I could push to development. Now, there are a few edge cases that I can think of for things that we should change about this. Like we should have a delete button for the weddings with confirmation to make sure we want to delete it. And I might also limit it to one wedding because most people are only going to want one wedding. But this got me thinking, like this could be a tool for wedding planners that they upcharge their clients to use as opposed to charging people on the front to create a wedding. Really, there's so many different directions that we could take this project. And if you guys like this project, feel free to utilize it. Feel free to build something like this, or maybe something like this for a different niche. I want to push the final version that we're on right now to the master branch where we're going to be actually deploying this. So make sure that the packages and everything are all set up properly. I'm going to be deploying it on Netlify. So get that all set up and let me know when it's ready to push to deployment.
Hey Carter, Claude successfully merged all features into the main branch of the Weddings Pro application and prepared it for deployment on Netlify. He resolved merge conflicts and added the necessary deployment configuration.
All right, next I'm going to head over to Netlify and I'm going to log in or sign up. Make sure to log in with GitHub. Then you're going to add a new project when you get to the Netlify homepage, and it will look something like this. We're just going to hit GitHub for Let's Deploy With. And then from there, I connected GitHub and I set up my Weddings Pro there. So this should be good to go. And now I'm going to go ahead and add a project name. So I'll just call this Weddings-Pro. And that's actually creating the domain name for this project here, weddings-pro.netlify.app. And then branch to deploy, we're going to change that to main. Then we need to add our environment variables in here. So I'm just going to import from an env file. And then I just went over to my code base and I copied my .env file. I'm just going to paste it right here. Now I'm going to try to deploy this using this deploy weddings pro button. All right, and it's building the project. So let's see how it does. Sometimes deployment doesn't work on the first try, so don't get discouraged. But this time it looks like it worked. It says published. So now we could set up a custom domain if we wanted to, or we can just go to this domain right here. And as you can see, it is deployed live. So let's just go ahead and test out signing up. Okay, so we're just gonna do my full name and I'll do a different email and we'll send a verification code. I'll go grab that from my email and we'll paste that in and then verify and sign up. And as you can see, I'm on a fresh account, so I have no weddings. I'll go ahead and create a wedding. All right, so we'll do Sarah and we'll do John. Add in a wedding date. We'll add in the venue name. We'll add the photo upload password. I'll just use test. And then for the custom URL, we're just gonna do Sarah and John. And then we'll go ahead and create the wedding page. Boom. And now, as you can see, I can edit the wedding page right here. You can save the changes. We can view our RSVPs list, which currently has no one. We can view the page itself. As you can see here, Sarah and John are getting married. When gives the when and the where. Let's test out the RSVP now. So if I uncheck this box, it will basically say that they're not attending, but I'm going to leave that checked. We'll try adding an additional guest as well, and we'll submit the RSVP. Now on the back end, if I go to the RSVPs, I see that I have this right here. Let's also go ahead and set up our QR code. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do next is just download for printing. Now I'm going to test this on my phone and I'll take a quick photo and we'll just capture a quick photo. And for the name, I'm just going to put my name and we'll upload it. And it looks like it uploaded. So let's check out the photos page. All right, perfect. There I am. It actually worked. So let's check download. That works. Perfect. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you want to deploy apps just like the one that I created today, then you should definitely check out AI Foundations if you're running into any issues after watching this video. And I'll be in there on the support calls every Thursday. So if you want to ask me questions, you can ask me there. I'm more than happy to help you out with developing your apps. And if you enjoyed this video, then you'll probably like this one too. So definitely check this video out next.